The whole title of my thesis talaga is Ophelia, a narrative short film representing mental health and depression through autoethnography. So there goes the representation of mental health in the Philippines and media. And then there's the question of what is autoethnography? So I'm not sure. Meron na bang familiar sa inyo sa autoethnography or wala pa naman? Or is this the first time you've heard of it? So ayun. Okay. So usually kasi ang mga tao mas familiar sila sa term na autobiography, no? Madaming films na autobiographical and for a good reason. Pag sinabi kasi autobiographical, it's really telling the story of a person's life, whole life almost. And it's true to life basically. Kaya nga 'di ba ayun. Ayan, I see chat. Ayan. Yes, from personal experience. So, similar to autobiography, autoethnography also comes from personal experience. But the difference is quite drastic. Hindi naman drastic, pero medyo malaki-laki din ang difference. Ay, sorry. So, this is an excerpt from the study of Ellis et al., no? Mga researchers natin na it's basically an approach to research and writing that seeks to describe systematically, analyze personal experience in order to understand cultural experience. So, hindi ka lang nagkukwento ng buhay mo, no? Meron kang goal na i-understand yung cultural experience ng taong sinustudy mo, which in this case is yourself. Kasi ang autoethnography, hango din siya sa term na ethnography. Ethnography naman kasi is more of researching and immersing yourself by observing and really understanding the culture ng isang tao or ng isang community. Kaya usually ang ethnography, it's more, kapag ina-apply siya sa film, it's usually documentaries na halimbawa nag-immerse ka sa indigenous communities and whatnot. But in this case, for autoethnography, you analyze yourself and your experience to further understand yung sitwasyon, na hindi lang siya purely about yourself but rather tinitreat mo siya as a research for political, social just, and social conscious acts, no? Na, kumbaga, pag kinumbay mo yung autobiography at saka ethnography, meron kang, boom, autoethnography, diba? So, basically kasi, ang autoethnography is both a process and a product ng research mo. And for film, more common kasi talaga ang autoethnography in documentaries. And that's why I opted for a narrative film instead for a lot of reasons which I will discuss later. So, ito. So, this is an actual excerpt from my thesis, which won me best thesis in Mapua during my time. By incorporating autoethnography kasi, I wanted to have this an honest portrayal and struggle of depression. Kasi before I was already so passionate about the movement of mental health awareness, and I was very passionate about mental health in general. Little did I know na, oh my God, I was also depressed. So, hindi ko alam na I was depressed nung inumpisahan ko tong thesis na to. Pero hindi naman ako na-depressed dahil sa thesis, but it's more of like, meron talaga akong repressed traumas and repressed experiences na hindi ko alam na nag-contribute sa condition ko now. Which is now, I am a diagnosed bipolar 2. So, meron akong bipolar disorder. So, actually, nakatulong sa akin yung thesis na to, not just para makagraduate, but also personally. It really helped a lot because it also gave me the courage to seek help. It gave me the courage to approach my parents and tell them na I feel suicidal. I felt suicidal and that I was no longer okay. So, yung itong excerpt na to is more of the statement of the problem kasi nga, like I mentioned before, I was very passionate about mental health and I was very particular when it comes to the depiction of mental health in Filipino films. Kasi para sa akin, madaming problematic or at least we lack good representation of mental health in Filipino films. Or like, even though na meron, I still feel like kulang. So, there goes the question of what are the typical depictions and tropes of mental health in selected Filipino films. How can one localize the portrayal of depression in a film? Because I asked this question, the second question, because I also noticed na even though na meron tayong representations of mental health and depression here in the Philippines, they tend to go on a Western standard. And when I say Western standard, there's the idea na madali lang maka-access sa psychiatric hospitals, yung mga ganon and whatnot. So, and finally, the last question is in what way can autoethnography be utilized in the production of a timely narrative short film that honestly depicts a person's experience with depression? So, ayun nga. When it comes to autoethnography kasi, people think there's a lot of debate about it na may advantage and disadvantages siya. Kasi nga, it's a I've been told din kasi even before ako nag-start nung thesis ko na this is not an easy path. As in, winarningan ako ng panel ko tsaka ng thesis advisor ko na hindi to basta-basta ganyan. Na ano nga, kasi it's a difficult tool daw for researchers na hindi ka lang basta-basta gagawa ng diary, boom, pasakalaw ka na. It's really difficult not only because it's personal but also because you will correlate it with the culture and the socio-political narrative and whatnot. So, ang daming layers ng autoethnography na kailangan mo talagang hukayin at i-connect mo siya sa personal mong buhay. So, ang dami ring commentary about it na parang, ay, ang narcissist. Parang, sino ka ba? 'Di ba? Parang, who are you to speak for a generation? Who are you to speak for an entire culture? But the thing is, even though na merong mga ganong criticisms with autoethnography, I still push through because I genuinely believe na the personal is political. That's my personal that's my personal philosophy. And even though na you do not get to speak for an entire generation, you do not get to speak for an entire culture, your identity is valid. Your identity is valid, your reality is valid. And eto nga, although representing the truth, the real truth is something that cannot be really fully accomplished. Yung mga qualitative methods na to, na katulad ng autoethnography, it helps to better understand the phenomenon sa community natin or sa setting natin. Considering na ang research findings is very influenced by socio-cultural context. Kasi nga, when it comes to research, hindi lang tayo mga numero. Hindi lang tayo statistics sa mata ng mundo. And the value of these kinds of research is that you are humanizing the experience of these people. Na I find it relevant not just in depression, but also, for example, right now we're in a pandemic. If you approach the concept of autoethnography in a pandemic, it gives you that humanizing factor na hindi ka lang statistic na ikaw yung si patient number 5,788, mga ganon. You are a person and your experience is valid. So, sa review of related literature ko, I had a lot of films din na inanalyze. Pero, when it comes to my RRL kasi, I was very particular with images. This set of photos are actual self-portraits ng isang photographer, si Edward Honaker. Isa siyang depressed na photographer who expressed himself through photography. So, I am also a photographer kasi, and I find it really interesting to have like surreal imagery. Pero later on, as my journey progressed in my thesis, I realized hindi surreal ang kailangan kong approach. But these kinds of images still help me really navigate my way through my creative process. So this one is another photographer, this time through the eyes of a person who is not depressed, pero yung asawa niya yung depressed. Si Maureen Brennan, dinocument niya yung depression ng kanyang asawa. So, this is interesting because of the perspective na hindi lang yung depressed person yung may mata sa sitwasyon, kundi someone who is also close to you, close to the person who is depressed. And it gave me a perspective na parang, ay, oo, possible na pala na hindi lang ang taong depressed ay hindi lang naapektuhan siya, kundi ang pamilya niya, mga mahal niya sa buhay. So another RRL, this one is a genuine autoethnography din talaga na thesis. Si Miss Christina Ustaris, she's a documentarist na eventually naging panel member ko rin sa thesis ko. Tapos parang like, shock. Ayun. Pero ayun, yung autoethnography niya is a documentary on a mother raising a child with autism. And yung footages niya ay actual footages ng ng pamilya niya. And it's so personal. It's so talaga. It's si Ma'am Chrissy Ustari. So it's very personal and very heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. Yung heart mo, hindi na rin siya sure kung anong mararamdaman niya after watching it. So, ayun. Pero, yun din yung the reason kung bakit di ako nag-documentary is because I did not want to, I already exposed myself through my writings. I didn't want to further expose myself like that in a documentary. Kaya parang, at saka, it's also a good way kasi for me to distance myself na, this is an autoethnography. Although, even though it's about me, I am also in control of my personal narrative. Kumbaga parang it's a reclamation of control in my situation. Kaya din ako nag-narrative na fiction. Even though may mga parts na hango talaga sa buhay ko. So, yun. So, sobrang dami kong creative films and inspiration, no? So, from tawag na Girl Interrupted, Little Miss Sunshine, The Hours, Helen, Royal Tenenbaums, even horror film like Raw, na French film, animated film na BoJack Horseman, indie film na American, si Ingrid Goes West, Her, The Boy with Striped Pajamas, Virgin Suicides, short films din na How Was Your Day, and even a painting of an actual painting of Ophelia. So, lahat yan, mga references ko, yung creative inspiration ko, na even though labas na siya sa autoethnography per se, I still think it's relevant sa film theories. Kasi parang, when it comes to application of film theory in your filmmaking experience, it's almost instinctive na. Once you actually learn these theories and you learn how to apply these theories, it's almost invisible sa'yo na ina-apply mo na lang siya sa buhay mo. So, pero in this case kasi, for my thesis, I only focused on one theory, which is, ayun nga, autoethnography. Pero even sa mismong writing experience ko, sa personal narrative ko, and the lived experience, no, I still apply the queer theory and the feminist film theory because I am also a part of the LGBT community. And of course, I am a woman. I am a cis woman. So, even though na autoethnography yung parang umbrella ko, meron pa rin mga sub-theories na pasok sa banga. Kasi nga, ayun, even though na personal narrative siya, and ako yung author na navigate ko yung phenomenon, it's important para sa akin through my research na talagang maghanap ng mga teorya, ng mga actual research na kung it's like validating my existence. It's validating my traumas, no? Na kaya ba to nangyayari kasi ganito o kaya ba to ganito? Anong mga factors to? Ito ba yung mga struggles ng kababaihan na emotional tayo masyado, na kaya tayo depressed kasi ganito. Paano yung mga kalalakihan na na repressed, 'di ba? Parang ang daming pasok sa banga kasi nga sobrang lawak ng lived experience ng isang tao. Kasi nga we are multifaceted beings, no? Madami tayong factors sa pagiging tayo, sa identity natin. Kaya na-mention ko din kanina na yung mga theories is almost invisible sa atin kasi nga we are just living through them. And the value of research is that we are trying to make sense of these things. So it took me 2 years. It took me 2 years writing my autoethnography and how I made sense of my personal traumas. Hiwalay pa yung 2 years na yon sa actual production process ko. Pero thankfully, mabilis na lang yung production process ko noon, na pinaka nahirapan na ako is writing my screenplay. Kasi yung autoethnography ko mismo, which is like personal narratives, is a journal na parang formal, semi-formal na academic paper na may 8 chapters worth almost 50 pages. So, isipin niyo na lang kung gaano kataba yung thesis ko at gaano kamahal magpa-print, di ba? Ayun. Pero, tapos, sa mismong production process, which is the fun part, I had to consult with a lot of people to identify kung anong aspect ng aking research yung gagawan ko ng pelikula. Kasi ang lawak nun eh. Hindi naman pwedeng buong yun gagawan ko ng pelikula, di ba? 8 chapters yun, tas short film lang po ang output natin, hindi feature, di ba? So, I consulted with a lot of people, and yung personal experience ko with a faith healer, yun yung parang nag-stand out. Kasi pinatawas talaga ako ng magulang ko. Pinatawas talaga ako ng magulang ko with the approval of my psychiatrist, ironically speaking. Na pati ng nanay ko, who is a doctor, which is very ironic. The irony is not lost on me. Na psychiatrist ko inapprove. Tapos yung mom ko na may psych undergrad na doctor din, pinadala ako at para magpatawas. Just to see kung may entity daw bang bumabagabag sa akin kaya ako gustong mamatay. So, ayun. So, parang dun na, yun na yung naging pinaka-germ ko for my film, which eventually transformed into Ophelia. So, yan, mga yung storyboard, excerpt ng isang draft namin, and then the screen caps ng film, and then yung color palettes ng excerpts from actual films na naging, sabi ko, creative references. I wanted to use a warm tone. Kasi mapansin ko kapag depression films, kadalasan blue yung tone niya, and depressing and whatnot. But for some reason, I am attracted to warm tones because even though na dapat feeling mo warm siya, it's actually disturbing na parang ang cold ng feeling. Pero nakikita mo warm. Ewan ko, parang siya, color theory na yung pinaglalaroan ko. Parang yung expectations ng color theory, sinavert ko. So, ayun. So, okay, we can proceed with the Q&A kung may questions kayo. Tapos ito na yung mga contacts ko. Kung may questions kayo na nahihiya kayong Pero sana magtanong kayo dito para masaya. Ayun. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
Yun.
Ayun. Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Celino. So ngayon ko lang napansin nung nakita ko yung credits na nandun pala yung mga past na past na guest namin sa class nandun si Ma'am Casey Sulit, nandun si Sir Herwin Cabasal. I also forgot to mention na Celina was recently selected as one of the auditors at the Buchon International Fantastic Film Festival sa yung film.
Thank you, sir. Kakatapos lang na actually.
Ayan, may question si Jello. Jello, can you ask
Ayan.
question and can Jello?
Hello po. May question lang po about dun sa parang closing yung credits. Parang 'di ba nagbo-blur out sila? Parang napapatukol. May reason po ba bakit gano'n?
Actually, creative decision namin yun ng editor ko na parang ano kasi, parang sumilip lang kasi tayo sa buhay ni Ophelia, 'di ba? Parang nakisilip lang tayo. Kaya siya nagbo-blur, parang alam mo yun sa mata kapag parang papikit ka na. Ganon yung feeling.
Apo.
Na parang
Okay.
papikit ka na, parang pa-blur na ng pa-blur hanggang sa mag-black na. So, yun. Parang, kasi yung
Hmm.
umpisa niya, di ba, yung OBB ko, blurred din siya. Kasi nga parang dumilat ka. Parang nagfo-focus yung mata mo, parang camera. Ganon. So, blurred sa umpisa. Tapos, yung ending, blurred din yung, ano, tapos papikit ka na ng papikit. So,
Oo.
tapos, ayun, yun lang siya, ganun lang siya ka-simple. Kasi sometimes, may isip mo na siya, nasa editing process ka na. Yun.
Okay, yun lang po. Thank you po. Thank you po.
At the end of the film, it was not shown, no, what happened, no, to Ophelia, no. So it left a question, no, to dun sa audience, no, on what really happened, no, to her. Was that a conscious effort, or initially iba dapat yung ano, yung ending niya?
Yes, sir. It's a very conscious effort na ang tagal namin pinagdebatihan ng aming team. Kasi I do not want to glamorize suicide in any way or form. Kaya parang it was ano, pero sinut namin yon, sinut namin na nakahiga si Ophelia, nakita yung iba-ibang angles pa yung sinut namin noon. Pinakita ko rin kung yung umiiyak yung nanay, ang dami namin footage na tinanggal. Kasi ayoko talaga siyang maging film about this girl who committed suicide, you know. Pero even though na yun yung parang kinalabasan pa rin ng pelikula, 'di ba? Parang I wanted that ano, a little bit of hope na na she could be dead, she could be survived, 'di ba? Parang I wanted that hope. I wanted that little bit of hope. Kaya parang it's a conscious effort siya na even though na people might think that she died, so many people have asked me if did I kill her off or did she survive? Lagi ko na lang sinasagot sa kanila, well, I'm alive, aren't I? 'Di ba?
Mm.
'Di ba? Parang ako, buhay ako eh. So, kung ako si Ophelia, 'di ba? Edi, parang yun na yun eh. Kung buhay si Ophelia, ay kung buhay ako, so maybe buhay din si Ophelia. We don't know.
Mm.
So, ayun. Yun lang naman siya. Kasi, I really wanted to avoid any form of romanticizing suicide. So, yun yung parang pinaka nahirapan kaming i-edit nung sinut namin yun.
Mm. Yun, no. Parang meron palang proposal na it's a paper and then it's also a film output, no. So in this case, no, malaki yung natutulong, no, na yung output nyo, meron kayong pinrepare, no, not just a production book but also grounded on theory, no, and yung mga references, no, na film, and not only film, no. Natuwa ako na pinakita ni Selena yung ano, no, yung mga output ng photographers nung yun, yung isang photographer na meron siyang ano, no, depression, and then yung isang photographer na yung asawa niya yung may depression, no. So kasi dito rin na differentiate yung ano, no, yung mga filmmakers. Merong mga filmmakers kasi na hindi dumaan sa film school, so nag-shoot lang, no, knowing the basics of shooting. Jules wanted to ask if merong nakapanood na tulad ng Parents na Ophelia, and if ano pong naging realizations nila after watching the film.
Actually, madami sa akin lumapit after nung first ko ni-release and even after ko i-release yung film. Kasi sobrang daming releases ng film, both sa cinemas and sa online, no. May mga lumapit sa akin na pinapanood daw nila sa parents nila, and it was a good conversation starter daw for them, na parang mas naintindihan daw sila ng magulang nila. And sobrang naiyak ako Naiyak ako doon na parang na naging conversation starter daw sa kanila yun sa parents nila na ang depression ay hindi lang gawa-gawa lamang, hindi lang siya gawa ng Illuminati na na hindi ka lang nag-iinarte, gano'n. Na hindi porket hindi ka umiiyak araw-araw ay hindi ka depressed, 'di ba? Na hindi porket hindi ka nagbe-breakdown araw-araw ay hindi ka na depressed. So, yung isa ko din gustong i-mention is yung parents ko mismo. Kasi hindi nila alam nung una. Hindi nila alam nung una na ganun yung kwento ng film. Alam nila tungkol sa depression yung thesis ko, pero hindi nila alam na ganun yung kalalabasan. Parang ang tahimik. No, kailangan nilang iproseso pa kasi ang bigat nung pelikula. Lalo na siguro kung alam mo ikaw yung magulang na tinutukoy doon sa pelikula. So, pero after na nag-usap din naman kami, and by then naman kasi may psychiatrist na ako. So, parang medyo umu-okay-okay na kami. Kaso, madami pa kaming pinagdaanan both in the personal life afterwards para mapunta ako sa position ko ngayon na mas happy tayo. Mas stable. Pero, uh, I also empathize with those who struggle talaga opening up with their parents, lalo na kung hindi sila pinakikinggan ng magulang nila. Kasi at least yung katulad ng mga lumalapit sa akin na sinasabi nila ginawa nilang conversation starter, not just to their parents but also their siblings and their loved ones in general. Sobrang nakakataba ng puso na malaman na kahit hindi ako talaga isang filmmaker lang naman ako. Nagawa kong maka-touch ng mga ganun tao na gawin nilang conversation starter yung pelikula ko. Sobrang big win talaga siya sa akin. Mas importante siya sa akin kaysa sa mga awards.
Ngayon lang kasi ako na naka-encounter no na yung short film was used no for the student in your case no to tell your parents no yung condition mo.
Nung nagawa niyo tong film, after niyo siya ma-release, paano siya nakatulong sa mental health mo?
Actually, nakakatawa naman yung question na yun kasi it both helped and worsened my mental health. Kasi nakatulong siya kasi syempre sobrang nakakataba ng puso tapos na yung stress ng thesis and whatnot. But it also worsened my condition in a way kasi parang whiplash siya eh. Kasi biglang boom, boom, boom. Biglang nag-trending, biglang nag-awards, biglang nag-Cannes, Tapos parang it's very overwhelming for someone who like me na mentally ill. Diba? It's very overwhelming. So parang after nun, kinailangan kong pumunta ng beach mag-isa at magmuni-muni ala indie filmmaker. Yun. Kasi din, sobrang, siya, the pressure was real. So, yung success niya, may pros and cons. Kasi after nun, naloka ang ate niyo, girl, na talagang, iniiwasan ko mag-overshare. So, inaano ko lang. Yung saktuhang sharing lang. Talagang naka-worsen siya in a way na parang overwhelming. Pero what kept me grounded, syempre, was my loved ones, my family, my friends, and of course, a lot of therapy and medication. So, ayun. Pero, siya parang nagtaas, tas bumaba. So, parang hanggang sa mapunta ako sa stability na ngayon. Na even now, kaya hanggang ngayon parang hindi pa rin ako talaga pinapakawalan ni Ophelia. Kasi parang, she will always be a part of me eh. Na, parte siya ng kaluluwa ko. So, it's really more than just a film for me. Na para talaga siyang, embodiment ng portion ng buhay ko. So, it's not really haunting me, pero it's more of like, talaga, yung mental health ko, up and down afterwards. Pero I'm really thankful na I was able to at least help other people. And, mas umokay talaga ako after kasi it helped me rationalize a lot of things. And even though na I no longer fully subscribe to the prior beliefs I had. Kasi for example, yung sa tawas-tawas, dati hindi ako naniniwala sa ganyan. Ngayon, nanghuhula na ako, nagtatarot na ako, nagre-ritual na ako, di ba? Parang, ano na, even though na may mga ganong factors na, di ba? Even though nagbago na ako as a person, syempre, tinitreasure ko pa rin siya.
Mm.
So, ayun.
I can relate do sa part no nung nagtatawas no. Pero yung pagpapaalbularyo kasi ng parents namin no sa amin. Usually kapag ano no yung sakit na hindi na magamot ng ano ng Vicks Vaporub.
Opo, ng physical.
Parang sige ano na dalhin ka na sa albularyo no at kung ano na
Opo.
patuluan ka ng kandila no at kung ano-ano pa no. Pero yung and that after this one, nakapag-shoot ka na rin no ng ibang film no. So coming from Ophelia, ano yung ano ba? Parang in a way negative no na reaction or critic na hindi mo makalimutan and then paano naapektuhan nung Ophelia no yung mga sumunod mong pelikula?
Syempre hindi naman mawawala yung negative reaction, especially sobrang open ng film online and ano talaga siya nag-trending. May mga mixed reactions din sa mga katulad ko na may mental health issues. May mga hindi kayang panoorin yung film kasi daw masyado daw sila nakaka-relate, nakaka-trigger daw. Meron namang iba na hindi nagustuhan yung portrayal kasi daw parang basta madami ring criticisms na talagang pero hindi ko siya masyado hindi ko siya masyadong dinidwell kasi kwento ko to eh. Yun eh, parang buhay ko to eh. Hindi nyo naman to buhay eh, di ba? Parang ganun eh. Pero hindi naman din ako nagpapaka-defensive na actually, na ganun. Kasi parang once na i-release mo yung pelikula mo in the wild, hindi na siya sa'yo. Hindi na siya sa'yo alone. Sa tao na siya, sa audience na siya. And they can make sense of their own experiences through that film. 'Di ba? So, hindi ko na hawak yon. Kaya hindi rin ako even though syempre naapektuhan pa rin ako ng negative, sabihin, pangit, ganun, boring, mga ganun. Or like, parang, mga ganong comments. Syempre, hindi ko na siya tinitake to heart kasi, naman, alam ko kung sino ako. Alam ko kung anong klaseng filmmaker ako. Alam ko kung ano yung pinangahawakan ko. And, thank you po sa feedback. I-consider ko yan next time. Pero, thank you na lang. Thank you. God bless. Ganon.
And then the next few films, the next film that you made after that.
After that, actually, sobrang nahihirapan ako sundan. Yung Ophelia. Kasi parang may pressure na tinatanong yung mga tao, may sequel ba? May sequel ba? Sabi ko, bakit kailangan ng sequel? Ano ba? May ganong factor. Tapos parang hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin, although I made short films with my friends for their thesis films, hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin ako nagde-direct talaga ulit ng short film na, na buo. Kasi nagka-pandemic. Tapos, ayun. Pero, I focused instead on writing. Nagpalakas ako sa writing aspect. I made a few short scripts, screenplays, and I'm working on a feature screenplay. I'm working with producers. I'm working with people who are interested in making films with me. Tapos right now I'm all, aside from mag-a-apply na rin po kasi ako ng grad school sa Lasal, sa DLSU for masteral. Aside from that, nag-workshop din po ako under Miss Denise O'Hara sa Kwento. Yung screenwriting, script writing advanced workshop. So, very guided naman po. So, tapos yung before then, yung sa Bifan, sa Bucheon, sa Korea, yung Fantastic Film School, nag-aral din po ako noon for network as well as networking with other producers So in other words, nagpapalakas muna ako. Nagpapalakas muna ako bago kasi sobrang may pressure na maging calculated ka sa next move mo
Mm.
na hindi ka parang there's this unspoken expectation na bawal kang pumalya. Bawal kang flop.
Mm.
Or at least yun yung how I see it. Kaya may pressure din. Doon din yung sa question kanina about my mental health. Kaya din siya medyo nag-worsen ng onte. Pero I'm in that process of just really gathering my strength and doing what I can.
You mentioned earlier yung trigger, no? And I asked you kung meron trigger warning, no? But there's a debate, no, online if trigger warnings are effective at the start of a film, no? So ako medyo hindi naman ako makasagot, no, from my personal experience, no. How would you look at trigger warnings, no, sa pelikula?
Some people see kasi na trigger warnings are like spoilers. 'Di ba? Parang sinasabi mo na ay may patayan, ay may ganito palang tema ganun. Pero kasi ang complex kasi ng idea ng trigger warnings. Siguro yung parang yung iba kasing tao parang ginawa ng trigger warning para sa lahat na lang ng bagay. Pero for example, trigger warning or flash warning for people who have epilepsy, that's important. Kasi siya talagang malala. Pero if it's something na parang yung contents ng film, I think sobrang hirap pa rin i-define talaga kung ano ba talaga yung dapat na boundary ng trigger warnings. Kasi siya, complex yung discussion kasi at least meron lang heads. Para sa akin, if maglalagay ka ng trigger warning sa film mo, at least meron lang disclaimer na katulad sa rating system natin, kung meron bang gore, kung meron bang pornography, meron bang nudity, yung mga ganon. Pero kung sobrang detailed na trigger warning na siya, medyo na-defeat na yung purpose. Pero kung like mga basic lang naman na katulad sa rules natin, and even yung rules natin, madami pang kailangan pag-usapan dyan. Di ba? Na alam natin sa censorship is also a complex discussion. Di ba? Pero for me, sa trigger warnings, at least, just know kung ano yung just let your audience know kung ano yung papasukin nila. Kung alam mong delikado siya para sa mga taong may sensitivity. Di ba?
And then you also mentioned, no, yung ethnography as more appropriate, no, for documentaries, no, rather than fictional narratives, no. Meron bang naging plan before, no, na to work on a documentary after?
Wala. Wala po. Kasi pero actually, before this film, gumawa na ako ng short documentary for my docu class na nag-interview ako ng someone who has depression and clinically diagnosed ng major depressive disorder. Pero aside from that, kasi doon ko na-realize na Shems, hindi pala ako documentarist. Hindi ako pwedeng documentarist. So, I was very firm with the idea na narrative talaga ako. At least kasi kung magagawa ako ng documentary, it will be a poetic docu. Na hindi siya yung usual traditional na documentary.
Okay. And then I also invited you kasi yun nga, no, mas yung mental health issue, no, ay kinikilala, no, ng generation ngayon. Actually, I have a lot of friends, no, na merong similar na problem pero hindi nila tinatalakay, no, sa film. Parang iba yung no, parang ngayon lang na yun nga, no, gaya rin ng nabanggit ko kanina na open siya na dinidiscuss dun sa film. And the personal, you also mentioned, the personal is also political, no. So I'm not sure, no. Yun nga, baka nga nung sinabi mo, parang natakot ako doon sa sinabi mo na the film worsened, no. Parang in a way, no, because merong ganun na expectation from Ophelia, no, with a lot of film festivals and awards, no, that it gathered.
Sa tingin niyo po ba, nagiging progresibo po ba yung pagtatalakay ng mental health sa bansa po natin? Yun lang. Thank you.
Progressive yung sa film ko or in general sa society natin?
In general po pala.
In general. Well, I think kasi some would say progressive na tayo kasi nga naging mainstream na ang mental health. Pero it's a good progress. Pero meron din tayong mga nag-i-exist na films na parang nag-backward. Nag-backward ng onte sa pag-depict ng mental health. No, ayoko na lang mag-name drop ng filmmaker tsaka ng pelikula. Pero meron kasing naging controversial na film na ano daw na nag-embody daw siya ng stigma ng mental health, 'di ba? Na mga baliw daw, ganon. So, some would say na yun nga, even though na meron tayong mga films na talagang careful and whatnot, meron pa rin mga filmmakers na ginagamit lang ang tema ng mental health for the sake of having a concept of mental health. So, that I feel like even though the progress is there, I think progress is not linear. 'Di ba? Progress is a spiral. Progress is a spiral. And what do I mean by that? Na even though na feeling natin bumabalik at bumabalik tayo sa same spot, meron na tayong kaalaman, at least, kumbaga 'di ba nandito tayo sa spot na to, sa baba. Pag umangat tayo ng onte, may point na mapupunta tayo dun sa part na similar yung situation. Pero at least, alam mo, mas grown ka na as a person na kapag naka-experience ka or naka-encounter ka ng mga pelikula na taliwas sa progresibong action ng mental health, you are already knowledgeable to counter it. You are already knowledgeable to criticize it. 'Di ba? So, progress is a spiral and we just need to keep on going. So, madami pang kailangan i-discuss talaga sa mental health as a topic in films. Pero I do believe na mas progressive na tayo compared before. Even though na meron pa rin backwards. 'Di ba? Mas at least hindi na tayo naghe-hesitate na sabihin na may film about depression, may film about suicide. Hindi na tayo pabulong. Mas matatag na tayo. So, ayun.
So, yun din na nabanggit mo yung merong mga films no na patuloy pa rin no doon sa nakaraan no yung backward na thinking no about mental health issues no. And we also have films no na hindi direktang tinatalakay no yung mental health, pero if you'll analyze it no, it pertains to mental health no. I'm talking about Love You to the Stars and Back no, directed by Antoinette Hadaone. Hindi ko pa napanood yun last night eh. Pero sa pagkakaalam,
Napanood ko yan, sir.
kamusta? If you're going to...
Nagalit ako. Yun lang. Nagalit ako. Yun lang. De, pero actually nasa thesis ko yung last night. Naging fuel ko siya para gumawa ng mas okay na pelikula. Yun lang. Ganun lang guys, kapag nakanood kayo ng pangit na pelikula sa mata nyo or like film na hindi kayo nag-agree, gawin nyo siyang fuel para gumawa ng mas magandang pelikula.
Actually, rin no? Doon sa experience mo rin siguro, no, Selena, in attending the workshops, siguro isa sa mga advice din na consistent no, na lumalabas is to make your film close to your story.